So let's go through the answers. And as we do that, Catherine, Clarice, and Sanvi doesn't need to answer, except for the ones that I tell you you got wrong for, as usual. Okay, so today what we're going to do is we're going to look at grammar MCQ first. All right, and then vocabulary MCQs, and lastly, composition writing, which is where you might feature in my story. All right, so let's begin with grammar MCQ. So the first one, neither Brian nor his friends what at college last Saturday. Catherine, Clarice, and Sanvi got it correct. Those of you who haven't answered yet, please give me your answers. And hold on, Toby, let me just check if you have actually completed it online. I just have to export the result again and open it. Next time, please complete it earlier so I don't have to re-download everything again. Yes, okay, so I can confirm that Toby is done with his MCQs. So Toby gets the bonus point as well for Class Dojo. That's 2 points for completing it online. Okay, the rest who haven't given it to me online, so that would be, I think it's just Siyu and Siyu and Zoe, I think. Yeah. So Siyu and Zoe, give me your answer for this first question, please. So Zoe, you are incorrect, unfortunately. How about Siyu, you are wrong as well. So the correct answer here is actually were. That's the correct answer here. Okay, so here's the grammatical rule behind it. Whenever we see neither nor, okay, or it could be either or, right? Either or neither nor. If we see any of them, right, the subject that we should look for that tells us what the verb should be is actually the subject that comes after the nor, right? Close to the blank. So the subject is actually friends over here. So this is the main subject. Okay, and from the subject friends, we can tell that this is actually plural. And also from the question, we can tell that it happened last Saturday. So that would mean we need to use the past tense. So out of all the options over here, right? Was is in the past tense. Were is in the past tense. Whereas is and are not. Is and are present tense. So we're only left with C and D, right? But we use were over here simply because were is for plural subjects. And over here we can see that the last subject was actually plural. Okay, so that's the grammar rule over here. Don't forget this. It's a very common question given to students at P4 and P5. Okay, so just look for the subject that is the closest to the blank over here. And then that would inform you, what your answer is supposed to be. So in this case, the answer is supposed to be D. D for dog. Okay, so in this case, let me give the marks first before I forget, because some of you have errors. So Catherine, Clarice, Toby, and Sanvi get 1 point for this. I think Nicole's not coming. I'm just gonna read that out. Okay. Next. Question 2. Now here is another pretty tricky question. And thankfully, those who did it online all got it correct. So only Zoe and Siyu need to give me the answers. Each teacher in the school, what a locker. Siyu is correct. Zoe is unfortunately wrong. So the trick to this question is the part that says each, right? When we say each, we are basically counting whatever subject we are counting them one by one. right? So when we're using the word each, we're counting them one by one. So essentially, whatever that we put after each is actually singular in nature over here, singular. So each teacher in the school has, okay, has is correct over here because has is singular, whereas have is plural. All right, so each teacher has a locker. So the answer is A. All right. So you got to be careful with, these kinds of tough grammatical questions. So everyone gets 1 point, except Zoe. Moving on. Question 3. The stationery. Now over here, stationery refers to your pens, pencils, erasers, staplers, rulers, and stuff like that, right? Stationery. So over here, the stationery in the drawer don't, doesn't, aren't, or isn't belong to me. So this is everyone who answered online got it correct for question 3. How about the rest? So I'm waiting for Siyu and Zoe. So Zoe, is that your final answer? Okay, so unfortunately, Zoe's final answer is wrong. Her previous answer was correct. The answer is actually doesn't, and Siyu is correct over here, right? So the stationery in the drawer doesn't belong to me. Okay, so first up, we have to look at the word stationery first, right? This is quite tricky. Stationery is uncountable because it refers to all kinds of objects that can be considered stationery. So it's an uncountable noun. So we all know that all uncountable nouns are actually considered singular. And since this is singular, that would mean the verb that we use later needs to be singular as well, right? So out of all the verbs here, or all the options here, we definitely know that aren't and isn't are wrong because it just sounds bad. You can't say the stationery in the drawer aren't belong or isn't belong. That's just weird, right? So we're left with don't and doesn't. Now, keep in mind, don't is actually short form for do not. Doesn't is short form for does not over here. And we all know that when it comes to the verbs, all right, when there's a S behind, these verbs with S behind, right, actually are for singular verbs. Whereas verbs without the S or the ES behind are actually for plural subjects. So in this case, since, all right, stationery over here is singular because it is uncountable, right? We need to match it with doesn't over here, which is singular as well. So it matches. So this is subject-verb agreement, right? So the answer needs to be B for question 3. Okay, and so Zoe, that's why I asked you, are you sure that's your final answer? Yeah. So actually you got it correct the first time round, but you changed it. Okay. So there we go. But it's okay, right? Every time we make a mistake, we learn from it and we become better, right? Every time we change, right? Okay. So that's question 3. Let's look at question 4. Now, this is a question where basically everyone who answered it online got it wrong. The only person who got it correct was Clarice. So Catherine, Sanvi, and Toby are going to have to give me the answers for this as well. Okay, Catherine is correct now. So is Sanvi. Good. Still waiting for, okay, Sue is correct. Good. Toby is correct. Zoe is unfortunately wrong. Okay. So those of you who did it online, your second shot, you got it correct, right? Most of them actually got it wrong. And Zoe, you actually picked the same wrong answer as them. So once again, you got tricked by the neither nor either or grammar rule, right? So if you look at this over here, it's basically the same thing as question 1, isn't it? Except that they changed it to either or instead of neither nor. But what was the rule for question 1? Do you remember? The rule is look at the subject that's the closest to the blank after the or the nor word, right? So in this case, elephant is singular. We're looking at one elephant only, not elephants. right? So since it's singular, either the lions or the elephant is going to perform later, because is going, that's for singular. Are going, that's for plural. All right. And you can't say has gone or have gone because they're doing it later. It's in the future. It hasn't even happened yet. If you say has gone or have gone, right? These are both actually considered present perfect tenses. And present perfect tenses are talking about things that have already happened. Okay? Happens as in like a past, right? Things that have happened in the past, right? Have already happened. So C and D are definitely out. So the only one that makes sense over here would actually be is going, right? Because it's singular, it matches with the singular form of the verb. So the answer here is A. Okay? So that's a very familiar and constant trick that the teachers use in order to, you know, get you a mistake. All right? So there's that. Okay. So let's look at question 5 next. So over here, my team leader, what won the top prize? Now, those of you who replied online, you all got this one right. So I will just need Siyu and Zoe's answers. Think carefully before you give it to me, right? Think carefully. Siyu is correct. Zoe is correct as well. All right, good. So everyone gets the mark for this. So I'll just remember that everyone gets +1, right? So we can go to the next question. So this is quite a direct question because team leader over here, we definitely know it's a singular subject. And for this singular subject, right, we can say my team leader is won, unless he can turn into the prize, right? But he can't. So we can't say my team leader is won. We say my team leader has won because has is used for singular subjects. And therefore that must be the correct answer. Okay, so everyone got it right, pretty straightforward. Let's look at question, oh, that's it. That's the last question for grammar. So I'm just gonna give 1 point to everyone because all of you got it right. Nice. Okay, moving on to the vocabulary MCQ part. So over here, police officers are what for the enforcement of laws to maintain order. Now, for this one, all of you who replied online got it right. I just need Siyu and Zoe's answers. Zoe is correct. Siyu is correct. Good. So the answer is responsible, right? So it's just very direct over here. The answer is responsible. Police officers are responsible for the enforcement of laws. Now remember, we can't say police officers are detained. When you are detained, it means people are stopping you from leaving. So police officers don't get detained, all right? Criminal suspects are the ones who get detained by the police officers. So criminal suspects get detained by the police officers, right? Police officers stop them from leaving or escaping. Okay. When you are appointed to something, okay, you are put in a position of power or responsibility. So for example, okay, you can say not too recently,